Did you know that the Labor Department recorded 467,000 new jobs in January 2022? That means more people can afford mortgages now. The mortgage rates have also shot up 2%. Fortunately, there are some 12% more new buildings spring up to cover the supply crises of the housing market 2022. Here is everything you need to know about the supposed upcoming market crash. Let us get started. By April, the fixed mortgage rate had jumped to 5.11% from the previous 3.11%. To illustrate, if you took a home at a $500,000 mortgage, you owed $2,138 each month for the next 30 years. Now, you owe $2,718. Thus, we might be worried about a potential crash. Nevertheless, all forecasts prove that the upcoming crash is a false start. Unfortunately, the new hotspots like Tampa and Phoenix are the most worried financially. Tampa has become such a destination for the American dream that even a Netflix real estate show, Selling Tampa, was set in Florida at the end of last year. The show is about an all-female, Black-owned agency selling waterfront properties. Jerome Powell, Fed chair, has expressed that the central bank would be upwarding pressure on interest rates to retire the relentless price growth. However, the choice of inflation-fighting affects the housing market. The industry players have said that going by the central bank's playbook, there is a chance that the economic shock that these new mortgage prices produce could reduce price values for homes in specific overpriced markets. Multiple industry players applaud this new strategy. They think we desperately need a break, and these mortgage prices could help establish that. We shall tell you the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank position, a housing economist, and a member of the Housing Wire team shortly. The pandemic did a number on housing. Most people moved back home to their original states to be closer to family. It is not a bad thing, but it meant that the smaller housing markets were experiencing an influx of wealthy potential homeowners who could jack up the prices. In fact, San Francisco and Los Angeles residents moved further inward and raised prices through the roof. At the time, only the South was left untouched initially. To compound, the buyers were from a demographic that needed their first homes. They were new millennials hitting their early 40s and late 30s. Additionally, work-from-home employees who were saving on transportation and office fashion were saving up to buy homes. The low mortgage rates made it more exciting as the lockdown ended. Economists had nothing to worry about because these pointers were quite understandable. Another thing that is quite understandable if you are subscribing to this channel. In recent months, especially after February, economists have shown their fear about the imminent housing bubble. The tune of understanding has shifted to worry. First, the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank published a paper expressing worry over the looming housing bubble. They were convinced that we were inching close to what happened in 2008 if we did not make a collective effort to end the insatiable demand. Meanwhile, George Raitu, a housing economist, opined that we could be at the edge of dangerous times. We are not in a housing bubble just yet, but risk getting close to one if prices continue rising at the current pace, he said. Another person who might agree with the concept of spiking mortgages is the Housing Wire lead analyst, Logan Mohtashami. He mentioned that he would like to see more souring mortgage rates to cause some homebuyers to pause their search. He explained that the inventory would have the space it needs to rise again when this happens. It's too many people chasing too few homes. We desperately need a breather, Mohtashami concluded. Will housing prices reduce in the second half of 2022? Experts, including Lawrence Yun, chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, have said not to look forward to it. Indeed, he told Fox Television Studios that there would be fewer interactions because first-time buyers are anticipating a reduction, and that would not happen. So the industry would lose the double-digit growth it experienced in the last 2 years. Supply rates remain extremely low, which could mean that the prices will stay the same, even if they do not rise. Can you afford a home at the current mortgage rates? Let us hear from you in the comments below. Yet, better days are coming with the new buildings. About 12% more facilities are expected to be enlisted in the second half of the year than last year, and we will present more on that shortly. However, experts do not expect anything as drastic as the Case-Shiller Home Price Index credit crisis on whether we will see a crash. That was the Great Recession of 2008. In the housing market predictions 2022, experts have argued that the main reason we experienced that was the result of risky mortgages. The mortgages were given to people who had no means of paying them back. Currently, mortgages are awarded to people with high-quality credit and outstanding credit history. As of January, job growth grew into a record-breaking trajectory since the surge in COVID cases nationwide. The Labor Department announced that payrolls rose by 467,000 at the end of January, and this wholly shattered the initial 150,000 jobs forecast. Moreover, the housing crash in 2008 started when builders were supplying more houses than needed. The oversupply of homes on the market was the other dynamic that led to the crash. Fortunately, the low inventory sweeping across the country could only mean that there is not an issue of oversupply this time.
Thank goodness.
Furthermore, inventory is expected to rise drastically. Statistics show that there has been a 12% growth in new constructions since October. Privately owned houses on the market are slowly rising again. These conditions could bring the situation to a more balanced state. Unfortunately, inflation is causing a rise in building materials and labor costs. When the houses are ready, these costs will be passed on to buyers. Finally, first-time buyers have been told to brace for the competition in the current climate. You may buy a house, but you might be pushed out of your comfort zone.
It is a hard knock life.
Do you want to know if housing prices will drop soon? Find out in this video. Why housing market will drop soon. Housing market prediction 2022